And I'm just going to have total faith in that and not allow myself to stay in that negative space.
I love
Ooh,
this.
there you go. Yeah, that was quite the poignant question for right now, because I literally was just going through that this morning.
And this is super important, right? Because I want to bring that reality into the space, that we're not just hearing of people's successes and how they've created so much success, but like, what are you living right now that is a challenge, so that we can all relate to, like, everyone can relate to, how do you say this? Rejection. That
Yeah.
sucks. We all know rejection sucks, and sometimes it can keep certain people from even starting, because it's like, I would rather just not even risk being
Yeah.
rejected.
I felt that way this morning. I was like, I don't even know if I want to put this out there, and then I took myself out of that space, but I definitely had to do that on purpose. If I would not have spent the time visualizing and getting back to this excitement, it could have all gone away like this. And I could have let something go that I know I'm supposed to bring to the world,
All right. Good morning.
Good morning.
You listening? I am here today interviewing my client, Tanis Roeder. Tanis is a communications expert, coach, and trainer. She has her successful business for the past 15 years and counting, called Elevate Your Communication. This is where she coaches and teaches communications and presentation skills, and she works with clients all around the world. So I'm really, really excited to interview Tanis here and also hear from her what her experience was like, not only working together, but also hear what you're passionate about bringing to the world, what your mission is, to encourage those who are listening to lean into where their heart is taking them and calling them.
Beautiful. Let's do this.
All right. Tanis, I'm so excited to interview, ask you these questions. I have some fun questions, so excited to see where this goes. First of all, my first question: what are you passionate about right now?
Oh. I think my biggest passion currently is really taking the time to listen to my calling. I think often it's very common that we get so wrapped up in our work that we forget to pause and really listen to what the universe is calling us to do. And sometimes that has something to do with our work, but also it has a lot to do with what we love to do and the gifts that we bring to the world. And so for me, it's really taking the time to slow down and to listen and to tap into that, which is actually something that you helped me start doing when we started working together. So it's been a very beautiful part of my journey, but that's definitely what I'm passionate about is tapping into that and then figuring out how to bring it to the world with everything I am.
I love that. And I love the word specifically that you use, slow. Like, slow down, especially in our society today. I know everyone can relate, that want, that need to slow down, and sometimes not knowing how to. And so I would love to hear, just so that the listeners can understand, what does that mean when you say listening? Like, can you give me an example of how you've been listening?
That's a really good question. I think if you looked at my calendar, you would see how I'm accomplishing this. Because if you looked at my calendar 6 months ago before I met you, you would see that it was full of appointments and coaching sessions and trainings. And I mean, some days were packed with little boxes back to back to back to back to back. And if you looked at my calendar today, it's very different. There's blocks of time where I have thought time scheduled. And that's really the time for me to just stop and to be quiet and to listen to what it is that I'm receiving, to think about the things that I've been hearing that have sparked excitement within me, and to do writing, to create. And so I'm being very purposeful in how I schedule my time moving forward. That way I'm not allowing myself to get so wrapped up in the busy and forget that, oh yeah, I really have to schedule time to get quiet and to listen. And so that's, I think, the best way for me to help people understand how to accomplish it, because it's not easy to do. You have to do it on purpose.
I love that thank you for giving your example, especially when you have a full schedule. Like, all right, I know that I'm a person who works off of my schedule. So how can I help myself out in the future so that Tanis, takes the time to listen, right? And you found your way of scheduling time to like, okay, this is my quiet time. This is my me time to connect to whatever it is that my soul, my body, my mind is like wanting to speak to me in that moment.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. I'm sure it's going to help someone.
So it's definitely helped me.
Okay, my next questions, I have them written here, so let me just look. Okay, so I would like to discuss a little bit more about what your experience has been working together with me before asking or speaking more about your life's mission in your own work.
Sure.
So the following question I have was, what was your most memorable moment working together with me?
I can only pick one.
Hold on. Actually, I should take this back. So Tanis and I started working together in Tulum in
Yes.
October 2023. So that's where we met. That's where we started working together. And it was a magical experience for sure.
And I think it's important for people to understand how I got to work with you, because I think, everybody probably has gotten in touch with you in a different way. And I actually went to see a naturopath, and we talked a lot about the things going on in my life and some of my concerns. And she wrote your name down on a piece of paper. And she said, I think the next time you're in Tulum, you should connect with this person. And that's all she said. She didn't tell me anything about you or the work you do or anything. And that rattled around in my brain for a couple of weeks. And I was like, okay, I'm supposed to connect with this person. I don't even know what they do, but I'm supposed to connect with them. And so I sent you a message on WhatsApp. And I said, I'd love to set up some time to connect. And what do you do? Just kind of trusting in this referral. So I want to encourage people that no matter how they found you, to lean into it, because there's a reason. And I don't even think that the naturopath who gave me your name knew the reason that she was connecting us, because we uncovered that during our time together, which I think is probably where my favorite moment happened.
Okay.
You were sitting on my patio in Tulum, and I had come to you and I had said, this is the reason that I want to work with you. And I felt kind of sure that that was the reason I wanted to work with you. I needed to work on my grief, and I needed to deal with some emotions that had come up over the past 6 months. I had lost my grandma, and then I lost my grandpa, and my life just seemed to be in chaos. And I thought that's why I was working with you. Oh, the universe had such different plans. And you being the coach that you are, you held space in a way that allowed me to come to my own realization that that's actually not why I was working with you. I was working with you on something so much bigger that was future facing rather than past facing. And in that moment on my patio, when I had that realization and we switched gears, I mean, you even switched up the schedule, you switched up things that we were doing in such a beautiful, seamless way to allow me to shift my focus. It just felt so purposeful and so natural and so meant to be that I was like, this is why your name was written on that piece of paper. It wasn't the reason that she thought. It wasn't even the reason that I thought. There was something much bigger in play. And the fact that you are able to step even your ego outside of it and not say, well, this is what I bring to the table and this is what the process we're going to go through. But instead, you're going to say, I'm going to walk alongside you and we're going to develop this together because you have so many tools in your tool belt, was an absolutely beautiful experience, and one that I would recommend to anyone, even if they don't know exactly what they're looking to accomplish, because it will be discovered along the way. So.
I love that. I love that. And I just want to reiterate that, like, just leaning into like, okay, I'm feeling drawn to this person. I don't necessarily know why, but I'm going to lean into that. There's something calling me to connect with that person in any way. You know, that's something that we experience in many different relationships in our life. And I
Mhm.
love that. Yeah, when we started, we thought it was about grief, right? Like, okay, Tanis, we're going to help you process grief and move out these emotions. On the first day, the first day we met on your patio, exactly, it was like, because you were given that space to connect to yourself and to go within. I love that you can also say that, like, you made the conclusion yourself, like, wait, I don't have, I process grief in my way, like that's not what this is about.
Mhm.
And I
Yeah.
love that, because I think this is super important to touch on, that society can sometimes make us feel like there's certain expectations to many aspects of our life, particularly grief and loss. You know, you should be grieving for this amount of time, it should look this way. And so when we are constantly accepting external like expectation, then that can for a long time like prolong connecting to our authentic self, right? Because
Yep.
had you come to me and we're like, okay, just grief, it would be confusing, because you're like, but this doesn't feel right and I don't know why.
Yeah.
But we were able to clear that up from the get-go.
Mhm. And we accomplished so much more because of that. Like we just, nope, that's not it. And we move forward in a way that started me on this unbelievable path. So I'm very, very grateful for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being an example. That's very important. A very important example of someone who leans into their heart, who leans into that guidance. Going back to what you're saying, practicing listening. That name on that paper was you listening to the universe,
Mhm.
to
Very,
guidance.
and trusting that it was bigger than me, you know?
So I just want to like retouch on that. Like that is an example of what listening can lead to.
Mhm.
And so just to touch back on like, okay, you came in with one expectation of it being like to process grief, and we got clear on it was totally something different. What do you feel that point was? Like, what were we there to work together on?
You know, it's interesting because even in the moment, I probably would have told you something different than I see it as now.
Mm.
Looking back, I'm like, oh, wow. Now I clearly see what we were working on. In the moment, for me, it was clearing cobwebs and getting to be back in touch with my creative side, call it my inner child, or, you know, just really getting in touch with Tanis, because a lot of the work that I have been doing over the last 15 years has been influenced by other people. And so there wasn't a whole lot of clarity about, well, what is Tanis bringing to this world? Like, what is it? What are my unique ideas? What is it that my heart wants to share with the world? And so over the week and a half or 2 weeks that we worked together, I feel like I gained a lot of clarity on what does Tanis want to say? What does Tanis bring to the world? And it's, you know, morphed even since then, obviously being a couple of months since we were in Tulum together, it's grown even more and gotten even bigger than it was. But you definitely opened up this space and gave me this permission to play and create with my content. And I hadn't had that from anyone before, because living in, I don't know if it's just where I live or the people that I work with, they very much were reliant on, well, this is the work you've always done, so continue to do that work. That work has been successful for you. Like, why would you go create new stuff? But my heart was saying, no, like you need to create Tanis's work and what she wants to share with the world. And that's really, that started in Tulum with you.
Okay, I want to touch back on this because this is so exciting. Like, you came to me from an expectation from the outer, like, this is what you need to deal with. Here you go. And then we uncovered, like, nope, that's not it. And I'm going to say now what I'm going to do. I'm going to say now what Tanis has been wanting to say, what she wants to scream to the world. So I love that it was like flipping and connecting to your purpose, your heart, and your, I love how you said that, inner child. And
Yes.
creativity. So I would love to hear, because it's been some months since then, no? So like how have you been tapping into your creativity and inner child since then?
Yeah, being very purposeful on giving that space and that time to create has allowed me to do things that I had not even thought of. So since we've met, I've created an entire retreat that I'm going to be launching into the world next month. And it is something that is so totally Tanis, I like to call it, because it is 100% from my heart and from my soul. And it's something that I am unabashedly passionate to bring to the world and to bring to the people who I know are going to join me on this retreat. And it has nothing to do with the work that I've been doing the last 15 years. Yet I have a passion inside of me that is even greater than the passion that I have for the work I've been doing. And so it's almost like this just awesome fire that has birthed within me. And it is all creative work. It is, giving that side of me the opportunity to create and do things that I didn't even realize I wanted to do. But now that I'm doing it, I wake up in the morning and I can't wait to work on it. And I haven't had that in my life for a really, really long time. I love my work and I love the people that I work with, but this is just like a whole new, it's like I'm starting my business all over again. And in such an exciting, beautiful way. So yeah, that's just one of many, many, many things that I'm working on that are really allowing that creative side to come out and allowing what's on my heart to start to come into a form that can be shared with the world.
And I think this is something really important for me to touch on. And I would love to share my favorite, most memorable moment of working with you in Tulum. And that was like the moment I entered your house, there was like these green, how do you call them? Like safety jackets, like just sitting by your couch, right? Like a shit ton of a safety jacket sitting on her couch, like lime green. And then she mentioned like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go give these out to the people who are working. Last time I was in Tulum, I saw people riding at night on their bikes with no lights, and it can be very dangerous because that Avenida Kulkulkan, I think it's called, right, in Tulum.
Yep.
Like people, it's super dark. If you've been there, people are driving really fast in their cars. And it occurred to Tanis, like, okay, next time I'm there, I'm going to hand out these safety jackets to take care of the workers who are returning home late from their jobs. So my favorite part was like your determination. And I love how you say, first of all, it was very totally Tanis, like to give from her heart and to like she had this fire and passion, like, no, we're going to do it. We're going to get it done. I am going to go give these out to the workers. And so I was just like taken back watching her in her zone. It actually ended, I think we ended our coaching session. Like I supported you in that. And we had another girlfriend by handing out these life jackets, these safety jackets to people as they were returning from work. And for me, like, this was so inspiring to me, for one, because it showed to think of others, to consider others and to take what you have, whatever privileges what you have, whatever you can give to those people and give back wherever you are in the world, and to make a point to do it. Because I would have easily been like, oh, I don't feel like doing it. Like it wouldn't have crossed my mind, but you were so determined to get it done and to be in your presence and to have lived that and experienced what it's like to be so abundant that you give that love and support to others. Like for me, I was like super happy giving out these codes, and the people as well, like they were so happy. They're like, this is fucking awesome, like thank you.
Yeah.
Beautiful moment. Thank you again for allowing me to be a part of that, and I feel that's super important to share to the listeners. That's totally Tanis. And so this is just an idea of how amazing I'm sure your retreats are going to be, because you go above and beyond. You go above and beyond to provide for everyone, anyone in your field. Thank you for being a representation of abundance and love. Truly.
Thank you for seeing that in me.
Okay, so we've already touched on actually some of the questions that I wanted to touch on, which I love the flow on it. Feeling like one of the last questions as far as our work together. What lesson was most impactful and how have you been implementing it into your daily life?
I have two. Sorry. I can't just limit it to
Perfect.
one. I do believe that every coaching relationship, the learning goes both ways, right? And I learned something from you about being a coach because I coach people in presentation skills and communication skills. So different from what you do, but there's so many similarities. And you taught me a lot about how to hold space for people. And I just want to say thank you for that, because I think that is a skill that we all can improve on. And I found myself like really just being grounded and listening and being willing to be even more flexible with the way that I do my work because of the way that you were flexible with me. And I think that is a beautiful thing that I learned, that you weren't intending to teach me that, but you did teach me that. So that is something that I continue to bring into my work life and with all of my clients. That's a beautiful lesson outside of, the work that we were doing. So that's one thing. And then I would say, as far as the work that we were doing, you taught me, you do something, and I don't know if you even realize that you do this, but when I say something that you feel like, wow, that was really something that you need to listen to and that you need to hear again, you had me stop. And you've done this even in conversation since. And it's a beautiful gift that you have to hear when someone says something that they need to hear again. And you stop and you say, wait, let's just take a breath on that. Because what you just said is so powerful. And I find myself hearing you in my head when I'm having conversations with people or I'm doing my own videos for my business, and I say something that the world really needs to hear. And I will have that Samantha pause, and then I'll say it again, because I'm like, it is so important that we hear this and that we listen to it, not just with our ears, but with our heart and with our soul. And like, that is a beautiful thing that you taught me, that we all say things that we just need to let resonate through our whole body. And I don't think I had ever done that before I met you. So thank you for teaching me how to do that.
Thank you for reflecting that, and especially how that last sentence you just said, like letting it resonate throughout your whole body. That's the point. That is the point, because so often we have these aha moments. We have these ideas, that we receive or that we learn, but the key is like sinking that information into your body. So it's no longer an idea or a thought, but it's a lived experience.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Ah.
I feel like what I'm continuously hearing throughout this is listening. Listening has been a big thing, like learning to listen and what that means and the importance of listening and creating space to do that. So who can you say, like, if someone's hearing this and they're like, oh, I'm not sure yet if I should commit to coaching or if I should even reach out to her, like, just to help someone understand, who would you recommend this kind of work to?
Anyone who's questioning it. That is the honest to God's truth, is that if we're questioning it, it means that we're probably ready to take that next step. Because I was in a place of questioning. I mean, you sent me this beautiful schedule of all the things that we were going to do. And I looked at it and was like, wow, can I really make this kind of investment in myself? I'm very, very good at making investments in other people. I'm very good at giving to other people and doing things for everybody else. But I'm also on the flip side, very good at questioning anything I spend on myself. And I will tell you, to anyone listening who's thinking about coaching or thinking about making this investment in yourself, that it will pay off in ways that are beyond your understanding. And if you want to hear ROI, because you've got the business mind, you will absolutely see your ROI. Like, I have come up with ideas and moved things forward in my business thanks to the work that we did, that have absolutely paid for the work that we did. So if someone is concerned about the financial investment, stop being concerned about that. Anytime you make an investment in yourself, it pays off tenfold. So if that is the block, I encourage you just to let that go and know that you investing in yourself will pay off. If your block is, oh gosh, I don't know if I have the time to do this, my question to you would be, really, do you have the time not to do this? And when will the time ever be right? Because that is the truth, is I could have filled my space in Tulum that week with a lot of other things. And I would have been in the same space when I arrived in Tulum as when I left Tulum. And I would not have made any steps forward. But instead, I made the time to invest in myself and in coaching. And therefore, I left Tulum in a completely different space than I started. And it was a beautiful thing. And that is the power of coaching. Is sometimes as human beings, we think we can just do it ourselves. We can work through it ourselves. We can read a book. We can do some, activities, some exercises. We can go online and do something. But when you have another person holding space for you and working with you alongside this process, it allows you to take steps forward that you cannot do on your own. Trust me, I've tried. So if the time piece is the block, let it go, because investing that time is going to help you take steps forward. And yeah, I mean, I really do believe if someone has found you, there is a reason that they found you and that you are supposed to be in their life. It might not be for the reason they think. I'm living proof of that, but there is a reason. And they will look back the same way that I'm looking back and smile and go, oh my gosh, I am so glad that I did that.
Thank you. And I just want to clarify, our ROI means return on investment.
Oh, yes.
For those of listeners who aren't in the business world and who don't know these models, ROI meaning your return on your investment, like the money or the time that you invest on a tool or training, like you get that return multiplied. Thank you, Tanis. And let's see. What message are you passionate about sharing with the world?
One of the things that you helped me get really clear on is that giving is contagious. And I think that that is something I'm continuing to work on, because I have always been someone who does things for other people very quietly, because I didn't want anyone to feel like I was bragging about giving or, trying to put it on display. But even you sharing what it was like to be a part of giving and how that inspired you is proof to the fact that giving is contagious. And so one of the messages that I am sharing with the world, and it's continuing to unfold, and it might be a book or a class, I don't know what it is yet, but it really is that the more we give, the more ripple effect we're going to see in our world. And like, what a good thing to spread, to support each other and to help each other and to hold each other up. Like, how much more beautiful is our world going to be if we can spread that instead of all the other things that we have the opportunity to spread as human beings? So yeah, that's really the thing that I'm working on. How can I spread that message and do things in a way that will inspire other people to then go out and do things for others?
And that's so true, because as I mentioned before, like being in your presence, in your abundance, where I'm like seeing you give things out to people, not only just the safety jackets, right? It's about the time that you gave, the energy that you put to drive in there, the heat, you know, in Tulum it's so hot. We are there like, it was still really hot. We were sweating, but like you have the abundance of energy, of love to give to people. And that's why it's so important for each of us to embody that abundance of love or creativity, because simply by being who you are, you inspire the next person to hold themselves up to a higher level too, and to want to contribute to the world in those ways.
Mhm.
Beautiful message. Okay. Also on my channel, I really love to talk about the realness, you know, like we mentioned you are a communications expert, you have this successful business, 15 years and counting, you work with international clients. And I love how there's also something else you're bringing into that you talked about, which is the retreats, right? So I love that this is coming up, because specifically on my channel, I want to encourage people to follow that creativity, to follow birthing ideas into life, and also talk about the reality of fears that are coming up and challenges, right? So I would love to hear from you, like, what is the current challenge that you're facing around this retreat that's launching in a month, you know?
Oh, this is so timely. Oh, this is so timely. So I've been working for the last month to land this really big client. And with every part of me, I thought this was the perfect client for me. And I went through the interviews and I sent them the proposal and they interviewed me again. And after I got off the interview, I told my husband, I said, I totally landed this client. It's perfect. I am the perfect coach for their team and what they're looking for. And yesterday I got the email saying we've decided to go in a different direction. Rejection stings. Always. I've been in the business for 15 years, and every single time I get that email or that phone call, I'm like, oh, really? Ouch. Right. And so I found myself this morning when I woke up, I found myself in a super insecure place. If I'm being honest. I was looking at my wall, and on my wall here, I'll just show you because this is the realness of it. Okay. So this is my retreat planning
Hello,
all over
Tanis.
here. So it has like all the days and like written out everything that we're going to do. And I've been having so much fun planning this retreat. And I'm sitting here after receiving this rejection from my regular business thinking, I'm building all of this. Like, what if I put it out there and nobody signs up?
I know that.
Crap. Oh my gosh. Like, that is such a hard thing to sit with. And then I realized that, Tanis, you should not be sitting with that, because that is not your truth. That is not your truth. There is a reason that the universe is calling you to do this work. Okay. And just because one person, one client said, hey, we're going to go in a different direction, does not mean that all of the work that you're doing on everything else is going to be rejected. And so I really had to work hard this morning to get myself regrounded and to get back to that place of creativity and playfulness and really closing my eyes and visualizing everything taking place just the way that I want to see it taking place. Because if I allowed myself to stay in the space that I woke up in, I probably would have taken all of this down off the walls and just said, I'm not going to do this. That is the power of negativity in our lives. And I've learned that over the last 15 years because I've given up on a lot of things that I've started. And because of, a no somewhere else, I've said, I'm not going to do this because that probably wouldn't be successful either. And so I really feel like I've made a lot of progress in compartmentalizing, like, okay, just because this one thing didn't work out doesn't mean that the rest of it's not going to work out. I'm going to continue to put beautiful things out in the world and trust that the universe is going to let the ones that are supposed to take off, take off. And the ones that were supposed to stay grounded, potentially they were supposed to stay grounded because they would have ended up being a hot mess. Who knows? Maybe it was protecting me in one way or another. And I'm just going to have total faith in that and not allow myself to stay in that negative space.
I love
Whew,
this.
there you go. Yeah, that was quite the poignant question for right now, because I literally was just going through that this morning.
And this is super important, right? Because I want to bring that reality into the space, that we're not just hearing of people's successes and how they've created so much success, but like, what are you living right now that is a challenge, so that we can all relate to, like, everyone can relate to, how do you say this? Rejection. That
Yeah.
sucks. We all know rejection sucks, and it sometimes it can keep certain people from even starting, because it's like, I would rather just not even risk being
Yeah.
rejected.
I felt that way this morning. I was like, I don't even know if I want to put this out there, and then I took myself out of that space, but I definitely had to do that on purpose. If I would not have spent the time visualizing and getting back to this excitement, it could have all gone away like this. And I could have let something go that I know I'm supposed to bring to the world, So yeah.
So I just want to be clear on your process for those who are hearing and who find themselves like in those situations, like it's hard to move from rejection into continuously creating. So like, what was your process, if you can make it like tangible?
Yes. So I woke up this morning in this space of, I suck. What did I do wrong? What did I say wrong? Why didn't they pick me? What did the other person do better than I did? I mean, all of those things that we all think, right? And my sweet husband looks at me and he's like, "You're wonderful and they're missing out." I'm like, "Well, you have to say that. You're my husband." Right? Because I was in this space of negativity. And I tried to cancel a couple of my meetings today because I was like, I can't do this. I can't, go to this place of like doing videos and doing all these things when I'm living negative. And then that's when I realized I had to stop myself, because I could not be that person that allowed the negativity to dictate how I was going to run the rest of my day. So I came into my space where I'm creating all of my retreat stuff and all of this. And the first thing that I did was I looked at pictures, because I'm a very visual person. And so, I was thinking like, maybe I shouldn't do this retreat because nobody's going to sign up and they're going to tell me no, the same way this company did, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, nope, stop thinking that, Tanis. Focus on what you're creating. So I looked at all of my retreat pictures and I started to get excited. And I closed my eyes and I started to visualize the people that were going to come to the retreat. More importantly, I visualized the looks on their faces as they had these emotional breakthroughs and business breakthroughs that were going to happen on the retreat, because that is really what the retreat is designed to do, is to take people through this process, right? And so I'm visualizing the outcomes for them and just getting back to that space of what I know I can create, right? And so now I'm visualizing the house and it being full of people and us having this awesome creative time together. And I'm starting to get more excited again. And the negativity is like just creeping out. Like it doesn't even have any space to be in my head anymore. And I text the person that I canceled the meeting with and said, "Never mind. I don't really have a headache." I know, I totally lied. I don't really have a headache. Still come over. We still need to do my videos. I was just having a really insecure moment this morning. I'm much better now. And so I put all my stuff back on my books and I took control of my day again, because I was not going to let the negative take control of anything. Like it's so easy to let it happen. And I couldn't let that happen, because that's the way I've lived my life for a really long time. And I'm done with that.
Snaps. So what I'm hearing is you have created tools, you found tools for yourself, because when those moments happen, you know what you need, what Tanis needs, what works best for you to shift that energy and that frequency, so that you take your power back and you take control over your mind, over your day. I love that.
Yeah.
And
Our
this
mind
is
so powerful, like and it can work for us or it can work against us. Like that is the absolute truth in this. And I'm just starting to come to this realization after 40 years of living and be like, wow, I really want it to work for me, not against me. So let's make that happen.
And that is the importance of investing in ourselves, investing in working, whether that's a therapist, whether that's a coach, whether it's a teacher, a trainer. Like, it's about the tools that are not just for that moment, they're lifelong. And
Mhm.
it's in a way to shift our trajectory, because you said it yourself. Had you not had those tools, for example, you would have torn down your
Yeah.
creativity where you've been having fun and said, and who
Mhm.
knows how many days you would have stayed in that, like, that rejection, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I remember early on in my career when that would take up a week or two of my
Mhm.
time because I would just live in this space of, am I really supposed to be doing this? Is this really my life's calling? Like maybe I just am not that good at this, or and I used to be a person that lived in that space, even though none of the people who know me would have known that because I'm a very happy person on the outside. On the inside, when I'm at home by myself where I work, like that's, so working to change that. Always making progress, right?
Mm. I love this, and thank you so much for sharing this with us and being so honest and vulnerable and authentic, because
Yeah.
I feel like we all relate to that. It doesn't
Mhm.
matter. We all relate to that. So thank you so much for sharing that. And as we're ending, I would really love to find out a little bit more about this retreat, because I feel like I feel a lot of excitement there. I know the listeners can feel it and can hear how amazing you are as a speaker. Like, we feel that, like, that's clear, but I would love, and if anyone would like to hear more, I'm obviously going to put Tanis's information in the information below for your Instagram if they want to get in contact about speaking and communicating, as well as I would love to give the space for you to speak about your retreat. Like, what are you birthing through that? That's releasing next month. And who
I've
is it
never talked
for?
about it.
Do you feel
I,
comfortable?
yeah, I think
Okay.
so. I mean, I think so. Yeah. So it's so funny because I truly believe when we're doing something that we're supposed to be doing, it does all come together relatively easily. And this has come together so smoothly and so easily. And I even think I have the first group that I'm going to take through it all set up for September. So the way that it's going to be designed, everybody told me, Tanis, keep it in one place, make it easy on yourself. And I said, no, it's about the participants. So the retreat is going to be designed in two different spaces in Tulum because I believe that Tulum is very, very special. And I want to show people just how special Tulum is. So we're going to start our journey in the jungle and we go deep into the jungle where we're going to take time to go inward. And we're going to do everything from the Temazcal ceremony to a sound ceremony. We're going to do a journey map of our lives, celebrating our highs and respecting and honoring our lows. We're going to do some fire ceremony, just really, really neat things to honor what's brought us to the space that we are right now. And so we're going to spend 2 days in the jungle, really reflecting inward. When we finish our time in the jungle, we're all going to load into a van, head into Tulum for one of the best Mexican lunches you've ever eaten in your life. Because I love to support local businesses and I have discovered so many amazing places in Tulum. So we'll spend some time eating lunch and walking around the town before we go to check into the villa on the beach, because this is where we're going to spend time reflecting outward to what is possible, what is going to come, what do you want to create and put out into the world. And so I believe that today I found the perfect villa. We're going to have a personal chef that's going to come in and cook breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us. We're going to have everything from massages to astrology to yoga to tarot card reading, you name it. Everything is going to be a part of this retreat because I have gotten to know so many amazing people in Tulum. And A, I want to support their businesses, and B, I want to introduce them to the world because their gifts and their talents are just mind-boggling. And I'm really, really excited to have them be a part of this experience. I'm also going to do some communication work along the way, because I do believe that communicating with ourselves and also communicating our value to the world can be really difficult. And that is the gift that I believe I bring to the retreat participants, is helping teach some of those skills along the way. Of course, we're going to have some fun. We're going to get out on the ocean, do some beach time. It's definitely going to be 7 days of mind-blowing experiences. And like you said, my passion is to really create space and make sure that everyone's needs are taken care of. So that is definitely going to be what this retreat is all about, is at the end of it, having everyone look back and go, wow, like that was incredible. I don't even know how to describe the last 7 days of my life.
Wow. I'm just like hearing you talk about it. I'm like, and there's just like two things I would love to reflect back. I am very passionate about integrity, right? Whatever we bring to the world, that it comes from an honest place. And I love the journey that you're taking these people on in the retreat, from going inward and then reflecting outward, because that is a reflection of what has happened, you know, like exactly making full circle, like coming to me with, oh, I'm going to process grief, but then going inside of yourself and be like, wait, no, that's not what I want to do. Actually, I'm connecting to my creativity, my inner child. And now through that connection, you've created this retreat. And so you're taking people on that same journey, which is super exciting and it's super valuable, because you are an embodiment of it. And this isn't something that you learn on a program or something to create. It's like, no, this is Tanis' lived experience. And now she's going to like make it amazing and offer you that to do the same. So I think that's super important to note, right? And secondly, I want to clarify this of like supporting people, right? Like providing space to take care of others. And I want to clarify this because from you, it definitely comes from a place of abundance. It's not you're providing space and taking care of others to receive something back, or because you think you need to, because that can feel draining. And I know as women, we can tend to go through like overgiving for, how do you say, validation, or like, you know, receive like good job. But Tanis does this from fucking overflow and abundance of like, she is just pure love and care. And that's what you're going to be getting on this retreat. Is going to, I just feel the energy in it. Like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing.
You might have to come back to Tulum.
Yeah. Seriously. Oh my gosh. And this is going to be next month.
No, I'm going to release like I think I'm going to add it to my website next month. The first
Okay.
take through will be kind of a corporate group.
Okay.
And I have to kind of figure out, am I going to, I'm still building, obviously, still building of it. And I might do like maybe 2 public ones a year. It's going to be very small. So 8 to 10 people max, because this is not something that I'm trying to make a ton of money on. That's not what I'm doing this for. As you know, like this is me wanting to take people who are at this place of like, where do I go next? I want to invest in myself. I want to go through something that's going to be life-changing, that's going to propel me forward. And that is the experience that I feel I'm called to bring to the world. And so, I feel like this is why I was called to Tulum in the first place. And I'm just kind of now discovering it. So yeah, it will definitely become clearer in the months to come, I'm sure, because I'm still in that creation phase, but I'm also enjoying every moment of it.
Thank you so much for allowing us to be a part of your creation phase where it's still building. I think this is such a juicy place to be. And I just, again, want to reiterate, anyone who is lucky enough to follow also their guidance to you and to be a part of your retreats or any type of work that you do is so lucky to be a part of that. You are truly a beautiful presence in this world. And I'm sure everyone hearing your voice, but also on YouTube here, like seeing that glow in your face, like lean into that, reach out to her. So I guess closing this, my question would be, how can people work with you?
I always tell people that my work starts with a conversation because I do a couple of different things. And now I'm kind of expanding that into this new space. So I encourage you to follow me on social media. I don't sell anything. I don't, I just share ideas and thoughts. I record videos about things that I'm passionate about. And if you feel like, hey, our energies jive, and this is something that I want to get to know Tanis more, or I'd really like help with presentation skills or something in my business, or I want to go on a retreat, then connect with me and just see where it goes. Let it be very natural, because I find that's how all of my relationships that have blossomed into something fabulous have started, is just from a very natural place of like, hey, I feel like our energies align. Let's see what happens.
Oh, thank you. So again, I'll leave also your information to your Instagram
Yeah.
and your social media in the notes so people can follow that. And before I let you go, what is a one word of advice, or what is an advice that you can give to those listening who just like don't know their life purpose, or don't have that passion yet, or haven't found it? What can you share with them?
That's a good question. I will give you advice that I wish someone had given me along the way. And it is appreciate the journey that's going to get you there.
Wow. Wow, that was powerful.
Mm.
Beautiful words. Thank you so much, Tanis, again, for just bringing that beautiful light and energy and love that you take wherever you are in the world. Thank you for just also believing in me, and thank you for sharing this with all of the viewers.
Absolutely. It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I'll see you soon.
Sounds good.